Welcome into our NFL Draft Player Spotlight. Locked On NFL Draft coverage is presented by Ultimate Football GM. You think you can run an NFL franchise? Well, visit ultimate-gm.com to play the Ultimate NFL GM simulation game. Start your dynasty today. We're checking with Locked On Vols. I'm your host, Kainani Stevens. Eric, you're joining us because, of course, we got to talk quarterbacks. Hendon Hooker has been, high risk, high reward for a lot of people just because of the injury. Where is he at with that recovery as far as you're aware, and what's the expectation of when he'll be available?
Yeah, I'm not speaking with Hendon Hooker on a daily basis, but seeing some of what he said at the pro day a couple weeks ago, what he said on the clock feature that came out a couple weeks ago, he's moving right along. I think the next step for him is dropping back. He's already been throwing the football a little bit, starting to run. Everything I'm hearing, he should be ready to go by training camp. He's made a remarkable recovery. He's training, rehabbing out in California right now. So it seems like he's doing really well in his recovery, and he should be ready to go by camp time. But, we'll have to see, obviously, with a big injury like this.
Obviously, anyone that saw Tennessee play last year knows that Hendon Hooker can do a lot. With that offense was spectacular on many fronts. How much of that was the Tennessee scheme that they had? How much of that is the skill set that Hooker brings to a team?
Yeah, I'll try not to let my bias show here. One of the biggest knocks on him, and he even addressed it at the NFL Combine, is, easy scheme, quarterback friendly, Josh Heupel, all that type of stuff. And the fact that he doesn't read through progressions, that's just completely false. A lot of times it's a one read or a two read from one half of the field, but there are many, many times. Go back to the Alabama game, even with Jalen Hyatt and how he went. A couple of times those were, second or third reads. He does progress the field, and he did it at Virginia Tech. He did it at Tennessee. But more than anything, sure, you take advantage of it. Josh Heupel is a great offensive mind at Tennessee, and he, gets players in position to succeed. And if you have a quarterback that can take advantage of that, you go and you make the throw. And that's kind of what Hendon said at the Combine. He's like, "Hey, I can't help if my guy's open. I'm gonna make the throw, right?" But it's a combination of a little bit like that. Hendon is an extremely smart football player, and I think there's a reason his stock has soared so much. Excuse me, as my voice cracks, so much over the winter months when he can't throw, when he can't work out. He's going in and he's meeting and he's discussing and he's watching film and he's breaking down plays. And I think these scouts and these general managers and these coaches are just like, "Oh man, this guy is a smart guy." And I think that's one of the biggest things he has going for him. Obviously, he's extremely accurate. He can make all the throws. So, sure, there's a little bit to that. But, some of the knocks out there that he can't read a progression or can't read a defense, I don't buy into that. I think he's a good quarterback, and I think he'll excel at the next level.
And some of that has to be, sometimes the knock is that the quarterbacks are older, might not be good for them, but he's obviously got a lot of experience. He's showing that leadership, as you're mentioning, when he's meeting with these teams. Do you see his age as being a benefit to him?
I think it can be. Obviously, with the NFL draft and with the sport of football, you want younger. Pretty much in any professional draft, you want to go as young as you possibly can. So I get that. He's 25 years old. He would be the second oldest first-round quarterback selected, if it turns out that way, outside of Brandon Whedon more than a couple years ago. So I understand that. But, now I'll look at, quarterbacks in this day and age. Not everybody's Tom Brady. Not everybody's Drew Brees. I understand that. Quarterbacks are playing longer and longer and longer. With the rules put in place to where you're protecting the quarterback so much, I just really don't think that it's that big of a deal. Reasons it could be a benefit for Hendon. He is mature. He's a grown man. He's 25 years old. He's been there, done that. He's operated two systems at the Power 5 level. He holds records for two universities, Tennessee and Virginia Tech, on interceptions not thrown. Fewest interceptions over the course of a career, and consecutive passes without an interception thrown. He's just super smart, and so I do think that the age factor can benefit him. And he was the undisputed leader of the Tennessee football team, last year and 2 years ago as well. Nobody questioned it. He is not the most vocal guy, but he obviously grew in that area. And when he spoke, everybody listened, and people will go to fight for him. So I do think the age could also benefit him, to where when you step into an NFL locker room, it's not like you're just a kid. You're kind of getting more, maybe more than other examples, maybe more of a man that's further along, developed, and also just social conversations and all that. I think that goes a long way with your new teammates.
Definitely getting that respect factor when you go to the next level. Obviously,
Yeah.
You want that as a QB. If his rehab stays on track, what are we hoping to see out of him? Obviously, it depends where he ends up, but what can we expect to see out of him in his rookie year?
Yeah, I'm super intrigued to see kind of where he ends up, because I think it's I think the ideal situation for him, especially coming off this injury. understanding he's 25 years old.
Mhm.
You go in, you hold a clipboard, you watch, you be a sponge, you ask questions, you rep. And so many times, especially if you're an NFL first round pick, a quarterback, you got to rush him to the field because you got to see that return on investment. I think the big thing for Hendon is a team that would take him in the back half of the first round, getting that 5th-year option, allowing him some time to recoup, to adjust, to learn from a veteran that might not have a long stay left at
Mhm.
their respective place. I mean, a lot of these teams that Hendon's being mocked to have veteran quarterbacks, either 1 to 2 year deals coming up or an out for the team side after the 2023 season. So I think that'd be ideal for him. Don't rush him into a situation when he's not ready. I mean, we see it every single year. One example that comes to mind, Malik Willis last year with the Tennessee Titans. He was absolutely not ready to play whatsoever, but had to play because there was an
Mhm.
injury to Ryan Tannehill, and I think that stunted his growth as a quarterback, and we'll see what's in store for his future. But if you be patient with Hendon, allow him to recover, which they will, and learn and ask questions and be ready, maybe at the end of a rookie season or maybe in year 2, they could see potentially a face of a franchise type guy who could take over. And even if not, I think that's kind of best case scenario. Even if not, I think Hendon's a guy that's going to last in this league. You are drafting a first round quarterback, obviously, to be your starter. Understand that. But worst case scenario, I think he's a guy that can be in the league for 10 years as being a backup quarterback because he can make all the throws. He's smart and he's a great leader. And so I think that kind of slow playing it as a rookie would be best for Hendon. But it's all about the situation. And I think the team that does take Hendon will kind of be in a situation like that.
Always ends up matters where they end up and hopefully in the right place for him to be successful. Locked on Vols will have more on where Hendon Hooker ends up. I'm your host, Kainani Stevens. Eric, thanks for joining us.